Without giving any spoilers, Cellar Door is packed with twists and turns. What was your initial reaction when you first read this script? And what was it about it that resonated with you? And then heading into filming, how did you approach each scene without hinting at that reveal at the end, especially because I think a lot of audiences won't see it coming?
hmm what appealed to me was being a lead, working with Vaughn, working with Scott, and for a long time I've played the supporting role for like in Lethal Weapon. I was the therapist to the dude, and in Dallas I was a goody two shoes, and in Fast I'm for the most part, with the exception of one, I'm pretty sweet, and I was really sick of playing sweet. And so the idea of playing Sarah really, really appealed to me. I also related to her fertility struggle and
Mm.
how single-minded that can make a woman. And so I understood a lot of what she went through and a lot of the reasons why she was doing what she was doing. I work with a coach, and that's really helpful and fun, because then you're just, by the time you get on set, you're super familiar with what the material is. But I also think it's the director's job to make sure we're not giving too much away, because I think if I were super conscious of like, oh wait, this is what's happening, like I would have messed it up. So I can tell watching it over, I'm like, oh, clever, Vaughn had that little look, because it's kind of hinting at it, but you're not sure. So it's also about trusting the director that he'll plant the right seeds at the right places.
I thought the reveal is so shocking. It's one of the most shocking things I've seen this year. And your
Oh,
character,
yay.
like you were saying, is on this healing journey when we first meet her. And through your performances, audiences immediately connect with her and they feel for her, which makes the ending that much more devastating. As an actress, how did you create the space for yourself to tackle such a complex and nuanced journey and find where this character sits within you?
Well, I mean, whether for better or worse, I just understood where she was coming from. I feel like the ability to move out of the city for her was like life and death, because she had to move
Hmm.
on and start anew. And I think that's why, every time he's bugging out and questioning about the house, she's like, it's almost like she slaps him, like get over it. Like you remember that movie Airplane, where it's like,
Yeah.
just, I can't remember exactly what the funny line was, but it felt like that a lot of the time. Um, because it's life or death for her. Like if the sandcastle comes apart, like I think then she would truly go insane. And then it's about digging a hole that she can't get out of, which is also very relatable, right? So
Mm.
she's just, to the most extreme extent, she's going to keep up appearances. I do think that it's true that an actor cannot judge the character they're playing. You have to like her. Like I had to love her. I had to understand her and not go, oh gosh, why is she doing that? Because as soon as you have that disconnect, I think it's going to ring false.
I think there's such an interesting character study of this film. And, at the one point, Sarah is described as the seeker and John is described as the solver. And I think that perfectly encapsulates the dynamic between them. And that contrast creates such a compelling balance in their relationship. How did you and Scott approach building that?
Well, we're very different, but we have really good chemistry, and it was really fun to. We had like a long, or I say long, a week or so to rehearse. We would talk scenes out. We would also sort of tease each other about our idiosyncrasies, and so I think that played out in Sarah and John's relationship too, where he's a little more stiff and anal, and she's single-minded and uh knows what she wants. And so I think those were parallels that worked for our dynamic.
Vaughn has praised the cast for truly making these characters their own. How did the environment that he created on set empower you to take agency over this character? Was there something specific that you brought to her that maybe wasn't on the page?
Yeah, I had fertility issues, and it was a journey that it's like a roller coaster, and once you're past it you forget. But this reminded me a lot of like, the oh my god, you put all your hopes in one basket and then it shatters, and then you have to start from scratch, and do you have the strength to start from scratch? So I think my personal experience helped me to bring a lot of realism to her journey. And I think I also felt very safe with Vaughn, because Vaughn's so supportive, and after every take, he'd be like, "Splendid, fantastic." And so it wasn't a heavy vibe on set at all. And I think that levity really helped to just come to work every day. Because if you're dealing with heavy stuff, you don't want to like, you want to
Yeah,
be around
carried through.
people that are positive and wonderful.
Yeah, you don't want to carry it throughout the day.
Mm,
And
yeah.
the house feels like a character in itself, where it's very picturesque, but also very eerie. How did working in that setting kind of elevate your performance?
Well, I think it helps to not have to imagine something, right? So the house was a little creepy, really beautiful. Our DP was so good and made everything look really beautiful, Merriman. So yeah, that and also to be able to see it. There are a lot of directors who were like, no, I'm not going to show you playback because they're afraid actors are going to get in their heads. But to be able to see playback and to be able to go, oh my God, that's what that looks like, and that's the sort of vibe you're creating is really helpful. So when it can be collaborative, I find that really helpful.
And the film also poses this really interesting question: if could you resist opening the cellar, if it held everything you ever dreamed of? And throughout the story, we see how John and Sarah clash on that idea, each standing on kind of opposite ends of the spectrum. Where do you fall on that scale?
Well, my husband tells me, and so do my kids, they're like, can you please stop asking me what I'm thinking? Because I'll be like, what's wrong? What are you thinking about? Like what happened? And they're like, nothing. Like stop at so I'm constantly like searching and misinterpreting and like um digging. And so I would have like grabbed a wrench and opened that door immediately. Um so yeah, I don't have her strength. I'm not a stoic.